This piece of fabric is going to become a ruffle on a tunic that I'm making. I've already pieced it together using the overlocker. It's several strips from a shirt that I've cut up. It's actually the sleeves. As you can see, we've got these little tails from where I was overlocking before. I find these actually quite useful to help hold it flat, the cross piece flat. This line here is where you're in line with the knife blade, which is here. So I've overlocked all along both edges. I've overlocked all the pieces together before overlocking the edges, and I've now pressed all of that as well. So now we're going to find the gathering foot and put it onto here and gather this together. To do this, you'll need the screwdriver and this, which is the gathering foot. That's my little mark on the side, ignore that. It's got a slot here, and it's a low shank, I believe, which means it goes onto there instead of snapping onto here. It's not a snap-on foot. Show it from all angles. I found a lot of videos that don't show you the foot very well. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to put it on. First of all, I'll take the other foot off. This machine is a Brother BC2100 computerized machine. It's not a particularly fancy one as computerized machines go. I probably wouldn't know what to do with it if it was, to be honest. So, it's as simple as that. Just unscrew the screw on the side. Take the snap-on connector off and keep those two pieces safe, or you'll be frustrated later. And the screwdriver. So this little beast is going to gather for us. What's very clever, I don't know how this does it, it gathers underneath here, and you can put a piece of fabric in there, probably not when it's been overlocked, maybe, yes, and that will sew straight. I'm not demonstrating that part today, but it does sew the two pieces together. I'm upside down at the moment. Okay, here we go. If you have it on the longest stitch, apparently it will gather the most. So I'm going to try it on the longest stitch. I only learnt to use this foot yesterday, so this may go horribly wrong. We will try it. Make sure I put my foot on the right foot underneath. Sometimes I think my machine isn't working, and that's why. Here we go. So my video is on a very wobbly stand right in front of the sewing machine. It's not the most ideal setup. does that? I don't know. You can see how incredibly easy to use this is. And it makes a ruffle. How clever is that? I think that's magic. So I shall carry on sewing this, and then later I will attach it to my tunic. So I'm going to do a little decorative stitch along the top of my pocket. So this is how I store my feet, because otherwise they are incredibly confusing. I've got a lot of them. This is one of the brother specific feet, and I store it in a little bag with what it's called on there. It's just foot J. And I'm going to swap it onto the machine. And just unclip it. The little clip is at the back. Oh, that's the wrong way around. Little clip is at the back, and it just snaps on like that's what it's called, a snap-on foot, if you didn't know. And put the thread through there. I've already done a straight stitch here. The top stitch along there. I haven't used this stitch before. It's number 16, and it's going to make a pretty stitch. We will try it out. I don't know, where do I want to start? One probably should try these things out on a scrap. Okay, let's have a look. That's my cutter on the side. There, as easy as that. So that's a stitch I haven't used before on this machine, which is the Brother BC2100. And I'll just show you what the settings were that I used. It's stitch number 16, foot J, stitch length 1.2, stitch width 5. I've taken out the curved piece that was lining this section, and I've ironed everything. In fact, I've pressed the shirt on the mannequin, and I've placed this piece over the top. I cut it out rather than unpicking it. Look at the gaps. This will be why it was all puckered across the back, which it was. It was horribly puckered. It just would not lie flat, because what was underneath it wasn't flat to what was on the top. So I'm making a new one out of the pretty fabric to go on the top and underneath, because it'll look nice.